I'm just mentally exhausted. I don't even want to flame the Mirana, you know? I'm just like, alright.
Yeah.
It's always a very tactical angle where you're like, there's like a 5% chance the mid's gonna walk here. But if not, there's a 100% chance I get the range creep.
Yeah.
That thought may have gone through my head, you know, maybe, you know, get my arcane boots a little bit faster so I can throw more arrows.
I think the best kind of arrow is when they stand behind the range creep and you're acting like you think he's gonna walk on the other side, so you hit him. It's like, oh, sorry, I thought he would move. Like, no, he didn't.
He doesn't have phase boots? What? Oh, never mind.
Wait, what? He's stuck there without boots? Yeah. Obviously, they know a little bit more than that. You know?
True, and in competitive Dota, I think it does discourage Phoenix picks quite a bit, and we were seeing the prominence of the heal meta earlier on. Wyvern gets banned out, and so probably not going to be seeing too much of it in this draft, but what was your take on the whole heal meta situation of the Animajor Black? How did you feel about the evolution of Locket being a dead item to like the go-to item?
I mean, it's just too good, right? Here's like Wyvern, especially on percentage heals, it's just way too good. Wyvern and Phoenix, most notably. And on other heroes, it's still okay, but not nearly as broken. Like Winter Wyvern just feels like whoever she heals is just 60% of her max health. Or, wow, okay, that's... Suddenly they're picking very fast. Lion Brood?
They want to bust out this Brood and give Trust as little time as possible, I think. With that said, they've got their full bonus time, I think, so.
Tiny, okay.
Ooh.
Is it then a mid?
Okay.
Mid tiny?
Probably mid, yeah.
The thing is, the supports are god-awful against Broodmother, which is usually what makes Broodmother a good pick. Like Clock Mirana, they can't do anything. Starfall doesn't do anything. Clockwork doesn't do anything.
Yeah, even like in the game itself, Clockwork's not going to be very useful. So forget about pushing out one of the lanes and making sure that Brood doesn't take a tower. Just in terms of ganking a Brood, you're going to bump into a spider with your hookshot like every single time. And Arrow is going to get eaten up by a spider as well. So yeah, these are... I don't blame Neon for going for a second phase Brood as opposed to a third phase Brood whenever you got these supports on the menu.
Yeah, at least the two cores can deal with Broodmother. Tiny, of course, one of the best. And Spectre, you can never really kill Spectre with Broodmother because all the spiders will just die of dispersion. In that regard, it's pretty good.
I'd asked
the lane should be rough.
Honlo about this in the previous series. How do you feel about Blade Mail Spectre versus Echo Saber Spectre these days? Do you prefer one or the other, or you think both are viable in certain situations?
I gotta admit that I've always been a bigger Blade Mail fan. It just helps you farm faster. Like, we have seen all the Spectres that are snowballing go for a Blade Mail, and the Spectres that are falling behind more are going for the Echo Saber, which just makes me believe that Blade Mail is a superior item because I just see it win more. And win more convincingly as well.
Yeah, and versus a Leshrac, I'm assuming it's probably going to be Blade Mail, because I think that was the situation with Raven in Fnatic. Yeah, he was Spectre versus the Omega Leshrac, and he went Blade Mail, so we'll see which one shows up here. And now, Motivate.Trust need to figure out who's going to be their offlaner. Do they need to worry about answering the Broodmother still with an offlaner? Because your options are limited. Kunkka's gone, Mars is gone, Tide is gone.
I feel like they just want some kind of arrow setup. Like, yeah, they've got stuns with Clockwork Tiny, but like for the lane itself, having that proper Mirana partner, that's what Neon target. They ban out Centaur, they ban out, I guess, Sanking theoretically could be mid or off lane, but I think they're looking at those Mirana combos when it comes to the lane.
Axe is still in the pool.
Axe is in the pool. What about some good old Chinese flavor, offlane CK?
Oh yeah, a Chalice classic.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a Masaros hero, though.
It really doesn't.
With that said, I would say that doesn't seem like a hero for any offlaner except for Chalice, you know. But like any other team, like, oh, that doesn't sound like that team hero.
A Magnus, okay.
You may now select your heroes.
It's
Very
a mid
good pick.
Is it a mid bristle? It's a carry bristle. Okay.
Interesting.
Into the Magnus. I mean, Bristol's gonna free farm no matter what.
And now he'll be freeforming against a Mag Mirana lane.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know how much I like this Magnus pick. Like Spectrum Magnus, Spectrum doesn't really benefit a whole lot from Empower. Tiny is quite good with it, but he'll be busy running around most of the time. It's a good draft if it comes online. It's just the early game seems pretty damn weak. Like it's only Tiny and Clock that are really strong.
Oh,
I guess they now have all three of their cores are okay at dealing with the Brood. So it's like whichever lane the Brood goes to, or whichever core you send to Brood's lane, they can clear the Spiderlings at least fairly well.
what does Mag build this game? Is it a Blink Dagger or is it an Echo Saber to worry more about Spiderlings?
I think it's more like an Aura bot. He's probably gonna go Mech, maybe to Greaves. Definitely a Blink Dagger 2 at some point, but he just wants to be tanky, so he can be a little bit more annoying. He was like Bristol back. I mean, I'm just not a really big fan of this Magnus pick here. It doesn't really enable anyone. Like they were already enabled. Like you now enable them while making your lane weak.
Yeah, I guess at the minimum it's giving them some team fight because they kind of had no team fight. It would be Haunt and then nothing happens pretty much. So at least now there's an RP setup, but I'm with you. I think it's not really solving the issue at hand, which is, I mean, eventually Spectre is going to get big enough, but I don't really think the Empower is going to be the make or break factor. And meanwhile, the Broodmother, on the other hand, what do you think her build is going to be? Because you and I saw the rise of old 11s, kind of same thing, Aura bot, Broodmother with the pipe and the Greaves and all that. You think that's going to be the same situation here or no?
I think it's very good when you have a Leshrac and Bristleback because they deal a ton of damage. So Brood's job is not really to deal damage, but to be annoying in team fights and just make the team tanky. So I think that build in particular this game would be very strong.
All right, well, let's see if Neon might be able to buck the trend that we've been having today of all 2-1 series and maybe make it a clean 2-0, or if Motivate.Trust will live up to everyone's expectations and bring it to a 3-game series. Take it away for game number 2, Black and GoDz.
Here we go. Game number 2. And the trend has been 3 games. I've got my Mate ready for that potential game 3, But it does sound like we have some questions about this Motivate.Trust draft that, we're going to have to see if they get answered in a good way or a bad way, because they've got a Brood problem, and even, I feel like even the Bristle, they have not got a lot of damage to deal with the Bristleback this game.
Yeah, they will really need Spectre to come online with the Manta style before they can really ever threaten a kill on this Bristle. Maybe if, is it a pos? Oh, it's a 5 clock. So a Vessel is not even going to be that fast, unless Mirana is rushing for it. And they'll definitely need to itemize to counter these heroes. Like Bristleback is too free if there's no Vessel.
Feels like one of those games similar to what we saw earlier today with the Spectre. It's like this. We need to see, much like Raven when he was playing, Spectre using Haunt actively, like to get involved. You can't just passively farm the entire game. So,
100%.
We'll see.
And Spectre bought a magic stick, and they're trying to do the same lane swap again they did in game 1.
Battle breaking out for the Rune. There's going to be an arrow that gets dodged nicely by OB.Neon, and they should be able to get the kill on Lionex here. Great sidestep off of the Impale setup. Gets him a first blood.
This is really bad news for the Spectre. Now there's Bristleback, who's already not the easiest matchup, now has first blood.
Yeah, Bristle, 400-ish gold, has a Soul Ring queued up. That's going to be coming out very, very early for this lane.
Yeah. And what I realized is this Magnus against Broodmother is actually sort of a trap. Like, Magnus does not win the lane, and come level 6, Brood will just dodge. You just dodge it. All these Spiderlings will never be there for you to cleave down.
Nice. 2-hero Impale up top to help Brood out a bit, but already getting pressured pretty heavily. The level 1 battery assault. Slightly problematic here, but...
Yeah, but don't worry.
A farm trade.
Level 1 web gives 3 health regen for some reason. Why not?
Sounds like you've got a Brood. Some Brood complaints socked up.
I feel 3 is a pretty big number for level 1 spell like that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There was a Curious Snap bottom lane, small stuff, but
Fearless has to be careful.
Mid Fearless, yeah, he's in trouble. If this Split Earth lands, he's just going to go, instead of going for the Split Earth, he's going for the right clicks. He does eventually go for it with a Lightning Storm.
I feel like if Jopaj just keeps hitting him, like he's just going to keep dancing and just going to kill him with right clicks. He lost like 400 health there by dancing around. Like just eat the Split Earth, worst case.
In the end, Yopaj does choose through his entire mana pool though, so.
He does. And Bottle is coming off for the Tiny already in 10 gold.
Tiny, honestly, he's fine here. He's going to be able to drop his branch and eat it if he wants to. And Yopaj, both players will be getting their Bottle at similar times. We'll see if either team can test the water runes with supports. That's where perhaps this mid lane could be initially won, as if the support rotates to secure both runes for their mid laner, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening here.
Yep, Mirana's level 1, so she will not be doing it. And neither are the top lane support, so. Yo 1v1 middle, like every mid laner loves it.
Mirana happily going to block some camps down bottom, but is in a bit of a game of cat and mouse with this Nyx Assassin. Doesn't have any creeps to arrow over on the right side. We'll find one in the jungle. Still not quite level 2 yet, though. So
Spectre is getting a lot of solo experience, though. So her 6 should be relatively quick if the lane continues like it is right now.
Something you mentioned, Brood doing just fine, like kind of winning the lane. I feel like usually Brood's kind of weak at the first few levels, but that has definitely not been the case against this Magnus.
The problem is really just Brood is too strong in the lane. The Silicon Bowler, 40% miss chance. Nobody can trade with you. And on top of that, you have all that health regen from the web. I absolutely hate the hero.
Yeah. Rotation from both teams as they go to contest bounty runes and try and contest these stacks. As Clockwork kind of come in, steal a bounty rune up top. Also, I believe, block the ancient stack, so recognizing you're playing against the Bristle, the enemy support wants to both stack the Ancients and also grab that bounty rune. So nice little play. Small thing from Lionx.
Yeah, this is going to be very important to make sure they can't stack these Ancients. Or at least if they do that, you punish them for it. Because as you said, this Bristle back, much like the Battle Fury PA last game, benefits from it massively.
Pretty passive start as far as these lanes go after that first blood at the bounty rune. Do you think this is kind of favoring either team, this more passive laning stage? I say that in top lane. It's like Clockwork is going to set up on the Lion, the Silken Bowler comes flying out, and Brood looking for a return kill on the Clockwork. Not sure he's going to be able to go for it without the boots, so. Who do you think this is favoring right now?
Probably it favors Trust if the game gets slowed down a lot. Because like their lineup will come online like mid-game. Like they need like a Magnus Blink, Tiny Blink, a Spirit Vessel to kind of deal with the Bristol back. Spectre needs an item or two. Like their early game is really weak. Just have no damage whatsoever. It's only Tiny.
Clockwork went for a suicide play up top after sniping Bristle's courier, though Bristle does manage to get the ring from the enemy secret shop, and as soon as he dies to the tower, he just TPs in mid lane, refills the bottle of Fearless, so making sure that Fearless is a decent time in this mid lane. He's slightly behind the Leshrac, but not by much.
Yep. I see you got a Midas queued up. I assume it's just a misclick on the Tiny.
On Tiny? The Midas has been the build.
Really?
Not every game, but so I think it was Thompson who did it first on OG like a while back, and a few mid-Tinies in at least South America, and I even want to say Eastern Europe, have been going for this Midas build.
Midas into Blink then, yeah?
Yeah.
I've not seen this build in SEA or China like ever.
Yeah.
It's news to me.
I imagine Fearless has just been watching what some of the other regions are doing with this mid-Tiny. Maybe probably played it himself in some pubs. It's not every game. It's like, I would say 50% of Tinies I've seen mid have gone Midas. I'm going Blink then Midas. I've seen that as well.
Yeah, which I feel like would make more sense this game, simply because the early game is already so greedy / weak that going for Midas first on your most threatening hero in the early game could be a little bit problematic and just give too much space to this Radiant lineup early on into the game.
He's not buying the glove, so that seems to suggest what you're saying. Getting that Blink first maybe going to be the better way to play this one.
He actually
Really
bought it
good
and
job.
sold it again.
Oh, the gloves. Gotcha.
Yeah. So maybe he's a little bit unsure still.
It's Clockwork, yeah. We've got to keep eyes on what he's doing. He is not oh, he can't block that stack because he gets impaled, but he has managed to prevent CTM Schem from doing a ton of stacks here. He's just wasting their time. It's only a double stack at the Ancients. Usually you'd see a whole lot more by now.
Yeah, like last game, at this point I think it was like 6 already. Protected pretty much every time he could.
That's true. Yeah. And Bristle, he's top of the net worth, free farming away, but yeah, imagine if he had like a quad or quintuple stack to fall back on, he'd be getting out of control. So some slightly good news.
The thing is, though, he keeps pushing in the lane very aggressively, which means Spectre is just completely free farming under the tower. He's not very far behind the Bristleback at all.
Yeah, it's Spectre also getting more or less solo XP for this entire laning stage. Is level 6, about to hit level 7, so we could even see Jackie consider getting in, get a little bit involved as Mirana forced to leap away from some Spiderlings. Can't really chase him outside the webs, and those Spiderlings, gotta be careful, feeding a bit of gold.
How much does one give now? Like 7 or 8?
It's like, yeah, 7 to 9.
Like these numbers are. You remember when it used to be like 30? Many years ago?
Oh god, you'd get so rich killing Spiderlings.
Yeah, like every guy that can't micro just feeds away 3k gold.
Yeah.
So he went for the arcane boots on the Brood, which means he's gonna go for the Greaves pipe build, which I like a lot this game. But as we said before, they have a lot of damage already, they don't need that. So just make sure you survive, make sure your team survives. That's all you need.
As for Magnus, a bit unclear what his build's going to be. You kind of mentioned that, you know, being an Aura bot with a Blink Dagger could be the way you go. He goes double Bracer, and it looks like Blink Dagger is going to be his first main item that he's going to pick up.
He actually has threats queued up, so maybe he wants to be stunned on clock. But these two teams are definitely way more timid and conservative than they are when it's not the qualifiers. Like, you can tell.
This is what we saw in the Fnatic series too, where it was just like, this is TI quals. One of the games at 10 minutes was one kill each. This game is looking like it's going to be 2 to 1 potentially. Neither team looking to make like any kind of aggressive move to invade or go for any kind of early towers right now, other than what's given to them freely. The Brood will take a free tier 1 tower top since someone's defending it, but both teams just farming their jungle, playing passive.
Yeah. I do think though Brood should make a move towards the mid lane relatively soon. Just get that tower out of the way, open up the map more for your Bristleback, which also means that you can get more stacks on the Ancients because of that. And I don't really think there's any way to stop this Broodmother from just taking the mid tower, to be honest.
See if they can make that rotation. Maybe they don't even need the Brood for it. Leshrac just trying to run in, fakes the Edict, so they actually glyph before the Edict even comes out. And now Leshrac could even consider hiding in the trees. Has to be careful. Fearless looking maybe for a toss back, but gets impaled before he can go for it. Yopaz just looks to turn and fight with the Brood rotation mid. The webs come out. Fearless takes a nuke from the Brood ultimate too. The spawn Spiderlings doing too much damage here, as that'll be a free tier 1 tower and a very successful rotation mid from OB.Neon.
Lagging. This is like these tilt-inducing pauses, you know? Like, you lose 2 heroes, you lose a tower, and like they pause. You just see the death screen. He actually did finish the Midas, by the way, on Tiny.
Yeah, I just saw that one. Midas is coming out. It's on the courier, so we'll lose a bit of efficiency time popping that first Midas, but
I don't really like the mindset they have, to be honest. Like, they're just trying to farm again, just like they did in game 1. And I feel like when you're already on the back foot, already 2k behind in 9 minutes, you're losing map control rapidly. How is the Midas going to bring you back into the game now? Like, your Magnus wants to farm his Blink, your Spectre is going to be farming, and you're going to be farming 2 on the Tiny? There's just not enough resources around the map.
Yeah. I mean, Fnatic were kind of in this position with Spectre where they got crushed in the lanes. They were down 2-3k gold early, and the way they got back in was Spectre spamming Haunt, and you need like they had I think a Puck that game using Coil to initiate. You need that Blink Tiny to kind of create those openings. This is probably going to start looking very passive. And by the way, speaking of heroes that can't do a whole lot, these dire supports, very underleveled.
Yeah, 4 and 3. The clock needs this hook ASAP. Spectre has been level 6 at minute 6. We have seen 0 Haunts so far. Tiny would have had a Blink already if he didn't go for that Midas, because they cost the same pretty much. Like, they need to make use of the free levels that Spectre is getting. That's the power of the hero.
Yeah, they invest a lot, and the returns are going to take some time to come back in if the plan is just to sit back and farm. They, buff Spectre up, give her the Empower, has the Blade Mail to farm Ancients, but very much playing for the long haul as mid lane. Initiation coming in, Clockwork They'll be in some trouble here. The splitter of follow-up is there. They're going to trade supports for now, but Yopaj charging forward, gets RP'd, skewered away from the rest of the team. Now into the Spectre.
There's the damage.
Yopaj is just doing too much damage. They need another Avatos combo. Tiny waiting for the cooldown, but he can't get the bottle charges. Has to avalanche defensively against the Brood rotation, and Yopaj, he's still holding his own. The Spectre Honk comes out now, but perhaps too little, too late. Leshrac easily clears it out, and the Tiny goes down to the spawn Spiderlings. OB.Neon just overrunning this mid lane.
Yeah, and now the issue that we spoke about is really becoming obvious. Like, they couldn't kill this Leshrac. They were hitting him with 3 heroes, and he was actually running at them, not away.
Well, this feels worrying, but also at the same time, Black, I feel like we've seen a lot of Brood games over, like, you know, the Major and DPC Season 2. This was often the story where they get these early starts, and sometimes they can be hard to hold on to. As Brood will find another pick top. Does this game have any feelings like, you know, it could just be another Brood game where they get ahead but don't close it out?
It's possible, but this game he has pretty good late game security.
Oh, they're going to get another pick off too
Jackie
on the
also died.
Spectre. Oh, that's a huge pick off. And Fearless top. Is Brood going back in? He just killed the Clockwork, and he's got friends on the way. Fearless just TP'd in. Is he TPing into his own death? This is not looking good, but he's got backup. The Magnus shows up to make sure they get the Lesh. Maybe it's not looking good for Neon. They've overextended. Their eyes are bigger than their stomachs.
The tower dealt most of his HP there, I think. It wasn't even the magic damage from the Tiny. It was the tower right thing. The second tower hurts a lot more than the first one. Almost double the damage. And yeah, they sort of just dove a little bit too deep. Vendetta, Nyx on the hunt. I don't really think they have any sort of follow-up there, scouting out the opponents. They have a sentry there. He walks up the hill.
Perhaps a little bit of overconfidence, and you know, I think Leshrac, he saw this possible kill on a Tiny that would just, you know, put them so far ahead, plus a tier 2 tower that would allow them to take an outpost, but yeah, not quite ready for those kind of plays. But he will come right back to the top lane. If they can get this tier 2 tower, that's going to be huge for this game.
How many spiders is that? Way too many, so they probably just can't defend this tower at all. Which means a pre-13-minute outpost. Okay.
Will they get it before 13?
Probably
Need it.
not.
Buddy up on the outpost. Yeah, it's not happening.
They don't even care that much. They're like, alright, I'll take it, I guess.
It's a smidgen of XP. It sets them up to take this Roche much safer. They don't have to worry about, like, people TP. Even they themselves can now TP to it.
And they have such a good Roche lineup. They have Silken Bowler for the mischance. They have Goo. It's such an easy one.
Yeah.
Only question is, do they want to wait for the Bristol Agonyms? Oh my god, these stacks again. I just saw. Ooh, that's juicy.
Ooh, very juicy.
They scouted it,
Scouts. Wait, Clock. Is he smoking for the XP? What's he doing? He's smoking up. Lionax.
Where is he going in alone?
That seems crazy. He can't
like,
kill him.
Team, I got this. I want to kill him and all the stack.
He's literally just leeching XP, I think.
This ward is... it would be good if they were planning to play offensively.
Gets a bounty rune, gets half a level, okay. Meanwhile, back at mid, jump in as OB.Neon get jumped by the Tiny, but the damage just isn't there. The RP comes too late. Tiny's already dead. He does skewer into the tower with the Spectre Hog follow-up. Can they bring down the Nyx Assassin? You betcha. The Brood, though, too tanky to be brought down, and they'll get the Lesh once more, though, so not a bad fight. The Bristleback forming those Ancients meant there was an opening for Motivate.Trust, but perhaps not a convincing opening as they do lose the Tiny. It looks like they'll lose the Clockwork as well.
Yeah, the Lesh kind of just killed themselves standing next to the Spectre. Like, Spectre is such a good answer to Leshrac with this Blade Mail. And the Spectre will become the ultimate carry this game. Like, all these heroes on the Radiant, they will feed the Spectre when it comes to late game. And all these fights are actually benefiting Trust quite a bit because they're just trading evenly. They're not losing more map control, and they're quite happy with this.
Yeah. I mean, as far as late game counters to Spectre go, it doesn't feel like they have very good heroes at all. Like, Nyx Assassin no longer has the break of Vendetta. They don't really have Spectre answers, if I'm seeing this correctly.
They just have no damage come late game to the Spectre. But this early mid-game pressure is going to be massive here from Neon. They're going to take a Roshan soon, and then with the Roshan, they're going to try to just choke them out.
They found a kill behind the tier 2 mid tower. Perhaps it's Fearless on the Tiny. He does have the blink, but he gets picked off behind that, and it's not just him, it's Clockwork as well. I mean, it seems very intentional that Neon are not... They could take Roche whenever they like, but it seems like they're saving it for later, which I like because it's going to give them a powerful spike, but the part I don't like is it does delay that oh-so-powerful Roche #2 with the Ag Shard plus cheese.
Yeah, I think they're setting up for it now. Yep, they are. This is going to be a super easy one. Mischance, minus armor, magic damage, have everything.
Yeah. They can just wreck... Yeah, this... Roche not looking like a very scary boy here.
Yeah. Clockwork is scouting out a lot of things, it's just they can't do anything about anything they're doing. They scouted the Ancient stack, they couldn't do anything. They scouted Roshan, they can't do anything. Yeah. Game is looking very rough.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, they have the Aegis. Usually this means you go from Roche to enemy triangle, take over their Ancients, and they just run right in. Yopaj is leading the way. I like that they gave him the Aegis. He's going to get the Yules into Split Earth Stun, goes in on the Clockwork. Meanwhile, his teammate Yanuel hits a huge 3-man impale! Oh, it was beautiful, and Fearless dead again. 0-5 on this Tiny. It has just not been his series. Fearless is having a rough one today as they lose 3. They are just getting run over. We've had so many close 3-game series today, and even the individual games have never felt one-sided, but suddenly we get to this 4th best of 3. This is the series I thought of all the ones today would be the closest. It's a stop.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same, but in the opposite. Like, if it's a one-sided game, I thought it would be Trust winning it, but it's actually Neon absolutely just murdering them. They have no chance whatsoever. And I don't really see a good avenue back into this game here. Mirana getting hexed.
Yeah. And
they're showing mercy. No, they're not. Right.
Like it's the demoralizing. Oh, we'll show you mercy. Never mind. JK.
Yeah, running back in for the Fiend guy. But yeah, next tier 2 tower gone. The entire map is already closed off in 17 minutes.
Yep. Only the Spectre can get out into just one lane, and you know, it's a 9k gold lead now, but even if they don't break high ground and get a Rax, they could very easily turn this into like a 15k gold lead in the next 4 or 5 minutes with this Aegis if they want to.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do here on Trust in case they lose this game, because I really don't like the mindset they're approaching this game with at all. Game 1 was a similar story. They're just playing for this mid-late game timing every game. That's why they picked the Magnus. That's why they went for this Midas. It's not paying off at all. Like, the game might already be over before you come online at all.
The high ground we go. Bristle has an Ag Scepter, so buffed up even further for this one as Fearless goes for the toss back, but Natsumi doesn't have the Aegis, but he is damn as hell tanky. The Spectre Horn is there. The nice force out to get him out of the cog. It's just trapping the Motivate.Trust heroes. Clockwork and Spectre trap themselves in a pit of doom as OB.Neon just going to look to maybe reset a little bit. The Brood with all the auras, the mech, and I believe a Greaves coming out now as well.
And the Aghanim's on Bristleback just gooing up everybody in their team fight as well. They have too many tools to deal with Trust right now. And most obviously the pure lack of damage on the Trust side. They need to like isolate one hero with a score RP and try to kill that guy. They tried that with the Bristol, but he's a little too tanky. And by a little, I mean way too tanky.
That's where putting this Aegis on Leshrac just kind of negated any kind of opening back into this game, it feels like. It's a 1200 HP Lesh, very squishy, easy kill. Maybe they just have to go for a skewer on the Lesh and try and kill him twice. That's exactly what they'll do. They're going to toss in the skewer. Perfect play. They get Yopaj under the tier 4s. He may be in some trouble here. He is in very, very deep. Can they bail him out? They RP too. Perfect set for the force up is there. They get him with the Greaves as well. They're healing up Yopaj. He's still got a Yule Scepter. It looks like he will be saved here. Saving Private Ryan deep in enemy territories. They just don't have enough on the Motivate.Trust side. Everybody's slowed up. Natsumi, 25% health, is just not afraid of anything. These tier 4 towers just tickling his back. Avatos combo gets CTM low, but even that is not enough to kill his poor support. Another skewer back on the Yopaj. They're just fighting on enemy towers. They are styling on Motivate.Trust here. Yopaj has the one charges if he needs them to back him up. They are just getting kill after kill, dieback after dieback. It's an ultra kill. They just got like 9 kills there.
Pre-20-minute GG. This was the most one-sided game we've had all day, maybe even all qualifiers.
Yeah.
Like, this was an absolute stomp. No chance at all. The draft, like, they just look like they're scared to lose. with that draft, you're picking this Magnus last. Okay, we got this mid game, we got this late game, easy. Itemization, I go for the Midas. Yeah, again, we got this mid late game. Yeah, let's get there. They never got the chance to go there. Like Neon just pushed down the gas pedal and it's all over.
Well, a lot of people tipping Motivate.Trust to go far in these qualifiers, and playing like this, it's not going to happen. They're going to have to look to shake things up. They're going to be looking to bounce back tomorrow. But we're going to be breaking down what happened with them, as well as the great performance from OB.Neon, who we had some question marks around, with Tsunami, as well as hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to OB.Neon to see where they're standing. We'll be right back, and we'll get Tsunami in to weigh in on what we just watched.